one day somebody does something unspeakable to someone else, to someone you hardly knew, and you do something about it, because you can.
This story is brought to us from ABC News, where a mother whose son was having a seizure in his Tennessee apartment said in a federal lawsuit that police and paramedics subjected the 23-year-old to inhumane acts of violence instead of treating him, then covered up their use of deadly force. Now, the death of Austin Hunter Turner was one of more than 1,000 nationally that an investigation led by the Associated Press identified as happening after police officers used physical force or weapons that were supposed to stop but not kill people, or in other words, non-lethal force lethally. The lawsuit filed this week in federal court came after Associated Press reporters shared police body camera video they had unearthed with Turner's parents, who didn't know it existed. That footage made the family doubt the official conclusion that a drug overdose killed their son. Citing the Associated Press's reporting and many of the details it disclosed, the lawsuit focused on how officers' own video contradicted the police version of what happened inside Turner's small apartment in the northeastern Tennessee city of Bristol. And I'll stop it real quick here. That's not surprising to me that video camera footage contradicts what they said happened. That's not surprising to me. It's not. Because when Deputy Arden arrested me, my attorney had told me, he said, and it says here that you made a threat in the police car. The threat was when I said, yeah, I'm going to show you guys the power of social media. That's not a threat. That's just a statement of fact. I'm going to show you the power of social media. In other words, I'm going to show you the power of news media, whatever. You're threatening me? No, I'm telling you I'm going to show you the power of social media and the news. But the point is, they write this crap up hoping to, make them look good. He threatened me. No, he said he was going to show you the power of social media. But also, when he turned, came at me, I didn't know what was going on. I'm like, what's going on? And he grabbed me, and he goes, he resisted because he wouldn't put his phone down. I didn't know what was going on. It was that quick. But again, I digress. So the officers here had said they physically restrained Turner and shocked him with a taser because he was fighting paramedics who were trying to help him. The lawsuit said that Turner was treated as a suspect and not a patient facing a medical emergency from the moment officers arrived. Quote, Turner was not resisting arrest or being combative. He was not disobeying commands. He was having a seizure. That's end quote. Now, multiple messages left for Bristol Police Chief Matt Austin, Fire Chief Michael Carrier, and Mayor Vince Turner were not returned last Thursday and Friday. They're not going to be. They're not going to, no. The lawsuit accuses the city and several police officers and firefighters of violating Turner's civil rights, Fourth Amendment. For Turner's mother, Karen Goodwin, the lawsuit is a last chance at justice for a son everyone knew as Hunter. Since that night, in August 2017, she and her husband Brian believed police had blamed their son for his own death. Now she wants those who were there to be held accountable. They should have recognized that her son was having a medical emergency, she said. And she's angry because she believes they lied. Goodwin says, we've always trusted the police. We didn't question authorities, so when they told us he died of a drug overdose, we believed them. And now they have this video that could contradict what they say. The case highlighted a central finding of the AP-led investigation. A lack of accountability permeates the justice system in the aftermath of fatal police encounters that don't involve shootings. From the patrol officers at the scene and their commanders to prosecutors and medical examiners, The system shields officers from scrutiny. It does. Some other deaths the investigation documented reflect another reality of policing in America. The fraying of the nation's social safety net can thrust officers into violent situations with people who need medical or substance addiction treatment. In Tennessee, it was hard to find an attorney. Goodwin said she contacted 20 attorneys before a Nashville law firm agreed to take her case. Lawyers know they have high hurdles even to get a case to trial, including qualified immunity, which protects officers from lawsuits. And this case was even more complicated. Lawsuits seeking monetary damages have statutes of limitations, which in cases like Turner's are 1 year in Tennessee, according to Dominic Smith, one of the attorneys representing the mother. Now, though Hunter Turner died nearly 7 years ago, Goodwin's attorneys believe the case involved a cover-up. They argue that means the clock shouldn't start until Associated Press reporters shared the police video with the family in August of 2023 as part of their investigation with Frontline on PBS and the Howard Centers for Investigative Journalism at the University of Maryland and Arizona State University. Now, a judge will decide whether the lawsuit can proceed, said Christopher Slobogan, director of Vanderbilt University Law School's Criminal Justice Program. If family members can show that a reasonable person could not have known how an injury or death happened at the time, he said, a judge could start the clock when they learn the full picture just under a year ago. The defendants will likely argue that because the family has known about the death since 2017, the statute of limitations expired. Quote, you look at what's fair under the circumstances, said Slobogan, an expert on Tennessee law. He's not involved in the case, by the way. The medical emergency began when Turner suddenly collapsed in his apartment. His girlfriend called Goodwin and said she didn't know whether he was breathing. Goodwin said to call 911, then rushed over. When she arrived, Goodwin found her son gasping for breath on the linoleum of his kitchen floor. She told paramedics he had a history of seizures. Not long after, police officers and firefighters swarmed the apartment. They thought Turner was resisting, but Goodwin said that wasn't the case. His body was jerking from the seizure. The bodies of officers and firefighters mostly blocked the mother's view, but she could hear them yelling at her son to stop resisting. That's their ACE card. Stop resisting! An officer shocked him with a taser while he's having a seizure. The group pinned Turner face down on a recliner in what's known as prone position, which can be dangerously restrictive to breathing. A few minutes later, he was strapped to a stretcher, face down. He stopped breathing before they got him to Bristol Regional Medical Center. In his autopsy report, the medical examiner said Turner died of multiple drug toxicity and cited Suboxone, a drug used to wean people off opioids, and the psychoactive chemical in marijuana. Now, the medical examiner also repeated the official police version of events. Associated Press's investigation found that the medical officials who determined the official cause of police restraint deaths frequently did not link them to force, instead blaming accidents, drug use, or pre-existing health problems. 3 experts who reviewed case records for the Associated Press said Turner did not die of a drug overdose. Instead, they said the Bristol police made critical errors that contributed to his death, including pinning him face down. Goodwin said that from the start, something didn't seem right about that night. And despite her doubts for years, Goodwin believed first responders did everything they could to save her son. But that changed after she watched the video. She was stunned. It struck her that officers appeared to ignore they had been dispatched to a medical call. By the end, instead of rushing Turner away in an ambulance, police and paramedics spent 6 minutes recounting the violence. So instead of rushing him to the hospital, they're like, okay, let's get our story straight. We come in, okay? And that's another thing. They're responding to a medical call. Stop resisting. Stop resisting. It's a medical call. The guy didn't commit a crime. The guy's laying face down on the floor. Stop resisting? What crime did he commit? Is it a crime now to have a seizure in America? That's what I'm talking about. How cops fabricate crimes. Cops fabricate stuff. 148A, he's resisting. Well, he hasn't committed a crime. I know, but he's resisting now. He's committing one.